Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 3 previewing State of Origin. Myself and Jai Arrow are back for another podcast, and Jai's got a bit of a bigger smile this time around, so it's going to be very interesting. Jai, how are you, mate?
Very good, Saucy. Very happy. We're back and doing the show. There was a lot of accusations thrown out the last time I was on, so it's good to be back, and it's good to be a winner. Yeah, I know everyone hates losing, Josh. So
I can't say the same, brother. I can't say the same. I was super confident. I'm not going to lie, heading into game 2. I don't know if my energy, Aaron Woods' energy, a few journalists, New South Wales journalists, I should say, galvanised the Queensland camp, but it obviously looks like it did. So congratulations, Jai, but enjoy it because it's going to finish up very, very soon. Let's talk about the game. Obviously, a gutsy performance by Queensland. 26-24 over New South Wales. Talk about a game of two halves. Obviously, Queensland completely dominated that first half, and New South Wales were gallant in that second half. I'm sure you were a bit nervous in the last 2 minutes of that game, but let's talk about it. What was your opinion on it?
yeah, look, it was different to a lot of Origin games. I feel as though everyone speaks about the penalty counts and everyone speaks about the quality of the match.
You spoke about it after game 1.
Yeah, yes. The quality of the match. And in saying that, look, the conditions weren't the best. It looked very dewy. It looked wet. I don't know, a bit of nerves, do you reckon, from both sides? And on one, Queensland obviously had all the pressure on them. And then again, New South Wales may have just been a bit complacent. I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely been better Origin matches. I felt like game 1 was definitely a better game than game 2.
I agree.
And then you speak about, look, I really feel as though the biggest lead into this decider, the person who has the most pressure on them is Ashley Klein.
Yeah, I agree, man.
How is this game going to be reffed? Because everyone's been complaining about the way game 1 and 2 have been reffed. So it'll be interesting to see how the decider pans out and how it's going to be reffed, because there's been a lot of whinging, a lot of New South Welshmen complaining about the 10-2 penalty count.
It's warranted, but
yes, warranted. I understand that, but so it's interesting. Look,
I reckon there's going to be a reaction to it. I reckon it'll definitely be more even game 3 in terms of the penalty count. And you can't, I'm not saying the game is rigged. I think there is definitely a subconscious bias with refereeing when it comes to Origin, particularly, say, Queensland. They obviously lost that first game. I feel like all the 50-50s, and it was quite obvious, all went to you guys in that game, not only on the penalty count, but also in the 6 again calls. And obviously, with the powers that be, they want a decider. Everyone wants a decider.
Well, obviously, like revenue-wise, fan-wise, of course, we want to see that. That's inevitable.
I don't think there's a dark hand.
Yeah.
Dark hand.
No one's surely every New South Welshman, everyone from New South Wales and Queensland disappointed that is going to a decider. But in saying that, I want to ask you a question, like with the way the game's going to be reffed. Remember when I said, I love seeing a bit of filth, a bit of this, bit of that with the Paddy Carrigan thing. Are you okay with that in the decider, and should that all of that kind of stuff be let go?
I didn't disagree with you. I think that's what Origin's about.
You 100% disagree with me.
I disagreed, and I said the game is not there anymore in the sense that we've had there's been a trend.
But now that it's a decider,
throw it in.
Let it go.
But I want
to
listen.
Listen. Now it's talking.
I told you, and I agreed with you that I wanted to see a bit of filth. I'm happy about that. But if we're going to go off with the trends and the way the game's being refereed right now, unfortunately, that's not the game that we played.
It has to be ref differently. The way the game 1 and game 2 have been reffed, it has to be ref differently. And hats off to Ashley Klein, because who'd want to be that bloke right now under all the pressure? And I really feel as though, as a player, the refs have the worst job in the world.
I agree.
In our game.
It's a thankless job too, if you think about it.
That and coaching. And being a head coach in the NRL would have to be the most scrutinised jobs and positions in our game.
But just like players, the referee performance needs to be critiqued. needs to be reviewed.
The show is unscripted. Sorry, Josh, for butting in. The show is unscripted, and this wasn't planned. But this is something that a lot of people have spoken about. Do you feel as though refs should have to front up
conferences
in conferences after the game?
I think so. And I think actually it's a touch point for the fans and to understand what's going through the referees' minds.
Yeah.
I know Graham Ansley, who's the head of the Referees Association at the NRL, was coming out during the week and dissecting performances and key moments, key decisions from referees. I don't think that hit the mark, but if I hear from the referee himself, I feel like it's a nice touch point. It's creating a relationship between fan and referee.
Yeah, 100%. And the way they explain the ruling, etc. Because there is some calls that you go, oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely it's written in the book.
Correct.
And if a ref does sit down and explain why he made that decision and how he made it,
I love it.
It would,
and it makes them more human, rather
100%.
than robots. Like we can't expect referees to be perfect week in, week out.
Yeah.
I saying that.
Yeah.
I think they're doing
human error.
Exactly, that has to be in place,
100%.
and that's with every code around the world. But yeah, I think in terms of having refs come out, front the media, or not even front the media, but just come out and say, okay, this is what I was thinking. This is why I adjudicated that moment
in that way.
And this is what I saw, and that was my perspective. Because at the end of the day, we talk about referees, different personalities. They all have different perspectives. They all have different views on particular outcomes and moments. I think it's a good idea. That's actually a really good shout, Jai.
Thanks, Josh.
But I don't want to blame the ref for the New South Wales performance. I feel like there was a bit of lack of complacency. I feel like the game plan was a bit. I don't think we were in sync as we were in game one. I think a lot of that was with Nathan Cleary. Our kicking plan was out of whack. Jerome Luai obviously is a completely different player to Mitch Moses, and if you recall,
they were poor in the first half. That genuinely is what let them down.
I think the conditions let us down as well. I think our timing was completely off. Whenever we shifted the ball, Queensland were in our face consistently, and you could see the edge defense they had a game plan, and that was to just rush up and just jam, just relentlessly. Don't ever read the pass, just jam and take that man. If it's the fullback or if it was the center, even if they didn't have the ball, just completely try and shut down the play. And that suits those conditions. If you remember how bad they were.
In saying that though, I feel like a lot of people have forgotten too. The only thing that I guess didn't get them the result was the goal kicking. Right? They scored more tries.
It's true.
They scored more tries. They just genuinely miss more goals, which is actually quite scary to think about, especially considering it was 26.
So you say it's a false hope that Queensland won? It's giving you guys false hope
to find that? Nah, I don't think it's giving us false hope. Like, for me as a player, all that matters is what you do on game day. It's game two's not gonna affect the way that they play in the decider. It's not giving me false hope whatsoever.
I think it does a little bit.
No,
I think it does.
Why? There's nothing to lose.
Well, yeah, you guys. All right. Will Billy Slater be happy with that performance?
First half, yes. Second half, no.
That's what I'm trying to say. Because you guys came up with the win. Does that give you false hope going to game 3, thinking that you guys can come up with the same outcome?
I wouldn't say it gives you false hope. It doesn't give me false hope whatsoever. It's more the fact that it was a tale of two halves in the sense that Queensland was so dominant in the first half and New South Wales were much more dominant in the second half. But the thing that would say worried me is the left edge in New South Wales scored fairly, I guess you could call them training
tries.
Yeah, training tries.
I remember the first try we conceded. I think the hammer went over. That was just a lapse.
The same thing.
That was just a lapse in concentration. I feel like we could have solved that pretty easily. I think that was a bit of poor movement as well defensively from our centre. The connection between Trell and Jerome, obviously, they were only in camp for 9 days. Yeah, so they didn't really build that connection.
Yeah. You understand, Trell doesn't play centre week in and week out.
Exactly
playing in a different position.
Exactly right. And when the thing about edge defense, that takes reps and reps and reps. And you all have to be on the same page. You got to think the same. You got to know what each other are thinking, particularly between the 2 men and the 3 men. And I feel like that was a pretty perfect example in terms of lapse of concentration and not trusting your inside. But I think they rectify that game 3. I think they do. I think they know how each other tick, how each other play. I think the biggest thing is not the defense, but getting Critter and Trell more early ball. Like, I don't feel like they got enough ball.
Yeah, everyone speaks about that, and I definitely agree. The more times those two, well, I reckon Crichton had one genuine carry, and he scored a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, both centers haven't touched the ball much at all this series.
You remember we were talking about Toya marking up against Trell, right?
Yes.
Do you remember one moment when Trell had him 1-on-1? I don't.
Nah.
Not once.
No, he made game 1 there was a couple of times, and Rob Toya made his tackles.
Game 2 I was talking about.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Not at all. The only time really Trell touched the ball was either coming out of yardage, taking those tough carries, or...
That's not his game. Like we didn't need him doing that. We need him getting 1-on-1 on his opposing centre to create space for Brian on his outside, or even force a line break.
Well, the only time he touched the ball in good ball was every time he passed to Brian To'o to score.
Exactly. Man, he's got silky hands,
Yeah,
bro.
mad.
Oh, my God.
Silky has.
All right, well, let's touch on the predictions real quick. You predicted 16-12 Queensland win. Guys, you're half right. Queensland did win.
I did look into the weather, and I knew it was going to be wet, so I really felt like it was going to be low scoring. But prove me wrong. The game's changed a lot, hasn't it, in the last sort of even 3-4 years?
I agree. All right, well, I predicted a New South Wales victory, 28-12. I was completely off the mark there, but I even predicted...
What else? What else is there? What else you predict, Josh?
I don't want to say it.
You predicted a clean sweep.
I did. That's how much I back these boys. And like, I feel like they got more... I think they have the superior side.
Does that now give you false hope that they couldn't get the job done?
I think losing this game definitely won't make us complacent come game 3. That's
well, it makes it exciting. And
it does make it exciting.
Makes it exciting. And I feel like now that it's a decider, everything's on the line. Both teams have nothing to lose, like in the sense that they can just throw everything at each other.
I'm just worried about, like, you guys doing the same thing we did to you last year. And that was you beat us on our home turf, game 1. Game 2.
Well, Queensland have been known to do these things, haven't they?
Well, you guys, remember when I told you, you guys relish being the underdog, and you did. You did. You talk about that first half performance. You guys were coming out of the gates like men possessed. Like, you guys had a point to prove. You had ego. All your egos were bruised, and I feel like that's a funny thing about pressure, right?
We're not egotistical up there, Josh.
You know what I mean, mate. It's just about pressure's a funny thing. Like, you can go either way, right? You can succumb to the pressure, or you can rise to the occasion and go, you know what, I want to prove these people wrong. And you guys did that. And
again and again and again.
But anyway, here we are. Do you think one other moment? Do you think Nathan Cleary playing injured?
Yeah,
like with his. I think that
100%.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it didn't affect his running game. But he's our main kicker. It's no secret, right?
Well,
and not having him kick, I think there were times where I think Jerome took the first kick of the game. And don't get me wrong,
no,
like
he had the first few.
Yeah,
Jerome.
But if you remember, the first kick went out on the full. And then Trell stepped up to take those long punts.
I can understand that though.
But you have to understand, like, your 4th tackle and 5th tackle, like, obviously you get to certain points and to get in position to get a good kick on, right? To have Nathan not be able to do that and to kick down that right channel. I definitely feel like it kind of threw us a bit out of whack.
That's what he's known for, right? He's Nathan. Yeah, Nathan Cleary is the type of player who can kick you to death. It's a very cliched thing to say in rugby league, but he's someone who, when he's on and he's playing well, he's squaring the defensive line up really well to give,
space.
To create space for the outside players.
What people don't appreciate about Nathan. Like, I feel like he is the best in terms of playing direct and keeping defenders honest and not, like, stopping them from sliding.
Yeah,
to the outside,
100%.
Right? And everyone says, he has to own Origin, blah blah blah, but no one really takes into consideration what he actually does with the footy and what he creates on the outside by his direct ball playing.
So that's the first thing he does, and the second thing, and probably the main thing that he does, is he kicks well.
Sure, he
continuously kicks well. Put you in your corner, make it tough for you to come out of yardage.
If he plays and he comes with the same kick plan, against the Bulldogs a few weeks ago when Panthers beat them 8-6. Mate, New South Wales, I feel confident we win this game, but he has to stay healthy and he has to keep fresh.
I just love how you say, we should win, we should win.
Oh.
Don't lose the unlosable, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
Not again.
Well, another thing that just broke about Laurie Daly came out and suggested that they're considering acting the tunnel walk to the field before kickoff. So I don't know if people know this, but obviously everyone thinks the sheds are downstairs in a core stadium. New South Wales don't use that. They actually use the sheds at the academy across the road. So that's a 100 to 200 meter walk to the field. Do you think it's a big deal? What do you reckon?
It's a weird one. I'm a bit on the fence. Like I've never done that walk. Unfortunately, I have trained at the facilities, but
unfortunately,
yeah, but never gone down that tunnel to walk to a core stadium from there. But I do get this in the sense that you just scrap that. You go to the stadium where you're walking out that tunnel, and especially because the fans know exactly where that main tunnel is, right? So
stuff the fatigue element for me. I know it's like 100, 200 meter walk, whatever. Stuff that. You know what I love? I love when, as a player, when you walk out of the sheds and you get to size up the opposition in the tunnel, read their body language, look them in the eye. I'm here to fucking play.
Nah, well, you don't get to really do that.
No, you
especially
do.
you don't.
You guys huddle in the tunnel.
Nah, you don't.
And then you one go.
New South Wales are at the door. They'll make Queensland go out first, and they won't see them, and then they'll come out in behind them.
I never used to
but
be
for
like
the
that.
crowd,
I never used to be like that.
Yeah, for the crowd, I feel like it's the best thing to go into the main sheds, come out that main tunnel at a core, and let the crowd go berserk, because that's essentially that's what it's about.
And
right?
as a player, it's one of my highlights. Like, oh man, you know
coming
what
out.
like.
It's actually now it's weird to think about it.
Yeah,
coming out from that corner,
far corner.
Coming out from that far corner is a bit, it's quite unique. So I reckon I'm with him. I reckon you scrap it. You come out that main tunnel, both sides run out from there, and they get stuck in with each other. Hopefully it's a bloodbath.
What a feeling.
Yeah, it's cracker.
Just walking out of the sheds, you hear the roar. You can the place is shaking.
Vibration.
The energy is just vibrating in that tunnel. And as soon as it's obviously a bit of a tunnel, so it's dark. And then when you get to that last 10 meters, the lights just hit you in the face. You look up and you just see fans from the top row to the bottom. And you're just like, how good is this? Like, that is one of the best feelings.
You just ejaculated in your pants, bro.
I did. Thank you. That's just all. We just lost all the young viewers and all the families. So thank you for saying that. Let's talk about the team list. Are you right there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the team list. Not many changes to report. New South Wales, he's obviously stuck to the same 17. The latest addition, obviously, Jacob Kiraz comes in as 18th man to cover Brian To'o's injury.
But he got cleared.
He's got cleared, of course. You know what? I think Jacob Kiraz, I think we said it a while back that he'll be close. He's been one of the standout performers for the Bulldogs this season, last couple of seasons. His numbers speak for themselves. It'll be awesome to see him play, but if it's not this year, hopefully it'll be next year. So we'll see how that goes. Let's talk about Queensland. So in game 2, obviously Billy Slater had immense pressure on his shoulders from all kinds of commentators, pundits, fans, journalists, whatever you want to call it.
That's where he does his best work.
Correct. I thought it was a bit rattled when he came out in that last press conference when he kind of used Paul Green as an example in terms of pressure and all that outside noise. And unfortunately, we know what happened there. But we have to say his selections all came out trumps. We got to give credit where credit's due. He put in Tommy Dearden. He axed Daly Cherry-Evans. That was a huge call.
Yeah, Tommy was really good.
We have to say Robert Toy, even for game 1, has been great the last 2 games.
And the more he plays, the more confidence he grows, and the better he plays. And he's a young kid too.
Let's just talk about all the selections that he had to make in game 2. He moved Xavier Coates to the other wing to combat Zach Lomax's catches. He put Tommy Dearden at 7. He had to put Kurt Capewell at 12. He brought him in. What a performance he had.
Who I personally think was man of the match.
I believe that as well. Well, can I say I don't know if people remember this, but there were 2 occasions where he got stuck into Payne, and I have never seen Payne Haas go backwards this season.
Bent backwards, 100%.
Kurt Capel, both 2 effective tackles there. Kurt Mann, one of the oldest debutants to play, great performance off the bench.
Told you I love that addition.
Mate, it was you know what, like as a fan now, like it was nice to see, and it wasn't nice to see as a New South Welshman, but yeah, a lot of good stories coming out of the Queensland camp. More selection drama. Well, would you say the drama? I wouldn't say it's drama.
Yeah,
I know people are saying that there's shock selections, this, that. They want to create as much sensationalism as possible. You know, I really, you know what, put my bias for New South Wales aside, but I think he made the right call to put Hammer at fullback. I thought he's been playing consistent footy. He gave you a bath last week.
We probably played him into that number 1 jersey.
Fuck, I think you did too. I think
Scored
that was
4 tries.
Yeah, but to be fair, that was that week. You know, Reece, Walsh, and Hammer were going head to head in terms of.
Everyone probably knew that as well.
But I think he was leaning towards Hammer the whole time.
Yep.
So Hammer obviously got the number 1 position. You happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think what he did against us on the weekend, as I said, we probably did play him into that number 1 jersey, but I think he's much better at the back than he would be on the wing for sure. And I love the dynamic of Coty and Val on the wings, just with their yardage carries. I feel like Coty's come a long way with his yardage game and how hard he's running, and Val's got so much speed in and around the ruck that he's actually deceptively so strong as well and hard to tackle and he runs hard.
He's got good leg speed.
Great leg speed. Yeah, you're right. And I love both those wingers with the intent out of yardage. So
let's put these 2 head to head, the Hammer and Reece, and talk about their strengths and weaknesses, right? Obviously, Hammer's got the consistency of playing week in, week out this year. He's conditioned for the game. He's obviously played 2 games already for Queensland this season, where Reece hasn't, and he's coming into obviously a decider, which is going to be high intensity. He's not conditioned for the game. He's only 3 games in now, Reece, from injury.
Yeah, also.
And, I think that the only thing that goes against Hammer, I think he sometimes is a bit nonchalant when he's off the ball. If you like in terms of defense, so if the ball's on one side of the field, he's a bit nonchalant in getting position and stuff like that. He obviously has got the speed to make up for the meters.
Fast,
he's so fast, I know. But I think with the ball is where his strength is. Obviously in an attack, he's obviously fast. He pops up in the right place at the right time 9 times out of 10, and he's quite errorless with the ball. He's pretty safe at the back, right?
Yeah.
Where Reece, I feel like, has been quite erratic this season. He's playing with a bit too much of emotion.
The last 3 weeks though, Broncos have been pretty good.
He's been pretty good. I agree, but I feel like at the first half of the season, when pressure comes into play, the game's playing at a very high intensity level. I feel like he gets quite erratic. Don't you agree?
Oh, I don't know about erratic.
Well, I think as well. We're talking about the kicking plan for New South Wales. Obviously, Reece is a smaller guy. I think they'd kick.
He's bigger than you think, hey? I honestly think he's on par with Hammer, if not bigger.
No, I don't.
Seen the size of his legs?
I'm talking about height.
Get it up. Honestly, I personally think he's up there.
We'll get Pedro to get the heights of Hammer and Reece.
I'm fairly confident Walshy is probably on par, if not a little bit taller.
I'm going to say Reece coming into this game, he would have been targeted heavily, and I think he would have been exposed a few times.
Surely, if you're playing a decider in Origin, that everyone's targeted and you're out to kill everyone.
Everyone's targeted, but I think Reece would have been heavily targeted, heavily. And that's just my opinion. I think the other selection, which I agree with, is Shibasaki into the centres. How is that a shock selection? He's been he's been top 5 best centres in the league.
Yeah, I don't get why people are saying that's a shock selection. Like Billy speaks about the right to earn your spot in the team, and he's someone who was 12 months ago nearly going to give the game away and
that's a good story.
Decided to give it one more crack, and now he's about to play on the biggest stage in a decider in rugby league. So,
have you had anything to do with Shibasaki?
Yeah, Gem. When when I was at the Broncos coming through, he was a really talked about and highly touted young kid coming through the grades, and I'd obviously moved on, and he sort of come through there. And just last year, so we obviously have had so many injuries last year. Probably
That's
the
right.
worst.
That's right.
Worst I've ever seen. And no. So he was like signing week to week contracts with us, so he could come down, and he played with us the one game. And I know the club tried to keep him for the rest of the year, but because of people you have in your top squad, top 30 and things like that, we had boys coming back, so we weren't able to keep him. But so he got to play with us last year. He came down, he was with us for a few weeks, and got his opportunity, and then obviously went back to the Broncos, and now he's about to play Origin.
Unbelievable.
Which is crazy.
It's actually unbelievable. And obviously Tommy Dearden had a masterclass performance alongside Kevin
was
Mansour.
good.
That was really good.
Yep.
They came up trumps. Josh Papali'i.
Love this.
Yeah, I agree with it too. I think he's going to be damaging with the ball. I feel like I think Mo Fodawaker, I think it was a bit harsh for him missing out. I don't think Tino's been playing that good for years, to be totally honest with you. I feel like he's had a few errors both games. He's conceded a few penalties as well. He's been a bit of a spot in the middle. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a big body, plays with a lot of aggression. I just feel like he isn't as conditioned to the game coming off the back of that ACL injury as yet. We definitely haven't seen him play his best footy. But yeah, I thought Fodawaker missing out on this game was a bit of a harsh one, particularly if he played the first two games.
It's harsh, but you look at the person he brings in, Josh Papali'i, and I personally think this has been on Bill's agenda for a while to try and bring him back into the side, and whether Papa's just been like, look, I'm done with it kind of thing, and he obviously retired, everyone knows that, and I felt like it's been on Bill's mind for sure about bringing Josh in. He adds so much, not only on the field but off the field as well. You know, you look at him at training and things like that, and you go, it's pretty cool. I'm playing with Josh Papali'i. But I really feel as though the way he's been playing this year for Canberra and
vintage, eh?
Yeah, the way
the fine wine.
He's been playing unbelievable footy, and Bill's reached out to him, and I think he's just gone, stuff it. You know what? Why not go in for one last hurrah? And
I believe it's his last season with the Canberra Raiders as well.
Yeah, it is. He's come out publicly and said that. Yeah, so one last hurrah in the maroon jersey, and I'm so excited to see him back in the maroon jersey. And I really feel like these both sides for game 1 and 2, everyone is heavily favoured New South Wales on paper, but I really feel like it is so even right now. It's anyone's game. It's actually an exciting time for a decider, and I'm very much looking forward to this. 3 days before my birthday, mind you.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, hopefully it's a miserable one.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But going into this game, I'm definitely not as confident as I was heading into game 2. It's definitely been tempered down, but
self-doubt, there is doubt.
It's not doubt.
There is doubt.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. But again, I'm just not going to play into your hands. You guys definitely galvanized from all the outside noise, all the outside pressure, and it brought you guys together as a team. But the only thing I'm worried about in terms of New South Wales prep is all this gale force winds, weather. I definitely think it's going to affect their training plans.
It's cooked at the moment, hey?
The weather's definitely going to play a big part in the New South Wales preparation, particularly they're training up in the Blue Mountains. So it's
still, it'd be pissing down up there.
Now.
They'll post some videos of the last camp and it was flooded.
Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
How do you prepare well for that?
Well, you told me about your preparation at South. So have you guys been training with this weather?
Tuesday session, so that was our first session back from Sunday's game. Yeah, the weather was horrendous. Like, we genuinely, we would, so long story short, we did our prep, did our meetings, went out into the field, and we obviously had training ready to go. We went out there, and it was absolutely ridiculous that we weren't going to get anything out of that session. So we ended up playing a con game, and scrapped it. We went back inside and did our gym, but what we did was a little bit of tackle technique on the mats together to get a little bit out of it. Like we just weren't going to benefit from staying out there for the whole, hour and a half.
I spoke to Cookie and Damien Cook, and he was saying that they...
Who?
Damien.
Oh.
Damien Cook.
Oh, that guy. I
remember him. The Dragons traded that weather, and they're obviously down at Wynn Stadium, so they're right next to the coastal breeze.
Well, we did that last week. So on our big day, leading up to the Dolphins game, on our main day, like obviously we've had to try and get as much as we can out of it, and it was cyclonic winds. Bro, you throw the ball, genuinely go to throw the ball backwards, and it travel 10 meters forward. It's actually a big thing. It's a big thing that it could affect them, their preparation, the weather. What's the weather going to be like on game night? So yeah, interesting one, Josh.
Before we move on, you spoke about how we scored more tries than you, and goal kicking obviously decided the result in the end. Do New South Wales stick with Lomax, or if Cleary's fit and healthy, do you stick with Cleary, or do you choose another option?
Well, I'm going to be fairly biased in saying that why not give it to the big game player and big moment player, and he's my teammate Latrell. He loves that stuff. He lives for it. He wants it too, mind you. I think Trell should take it, especially, and not saying that Lomax is a bad goal kicker or anything, but he just hasn't performed goal kicking wise in game 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think there'll be a bit of head noise and a bit of pressure going into kick.
100%. And now that it's spoken about, a lot of people have spoken about it.
Yeah.
It's not that he lost the game for them in game 2.
It's not going to be in front of his mind.
Nah. But unconsciously, it's deep down in there.
A bit of doubt somewhere around there.
And the power of the mind is a crazy thing.
I agree.
So, but I
like
think
that.
you give it to Trell.
Yeah.
I think you give it to Trell.
I was going to agree with you, but I think Stephen Crichton's a good suggestion as well.
Yeah.
I think both Latrell or Crichton.
If Cleary's right.
Yeah, if Cleary's right, give him the duty, 100%. If he's not right, I'd like to see Latrell step up for the duty or Stephen Crichton. I think they've got a pretty high success rate and a percentage when it comes to goal kicking. So
well, you just give it to someone like Max King, Payne Haas, and the likes of that. Just give it to those boys.
Oh my God! Anyway, you make me sick. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go.
I don't know. We've just remember something, Josh. Remember the bets that we've had? Winners, losers. What does the loser do? You're unfortunately the loser in this sense.
What bet?
You forgot to put on the one, the only.
Did we have a bet?
Cane toad hat.
Did we bet on
100%, bro. Don't talk shit now. I had to wear that piece of shit.
Oh, give it to me.
And you can wear this. Lovely.
Wait. Is that the one that's been in places that I don't want to mention?
Nah, okay. Yeah, actually it has. This is the one that's been pissed on. I washed it though. I washed it specifically for you. Do you know what? It actually suits ya. Like it's going to suit ya. Black shirt, black cane toad eyes.
Disgusting. Stinks too. Hey, do you remember we took the, this is burning me. Do you remember we, in 2021 when the competition got moved to Gold Coast and we're training and living up there and whatnot. Do you remember doing a field session and there was cane toads on that field? Do you remember? And I went to go pick one up and Gags grabbed me. He's like, don't touch them. They're poisonous or something.
Oh, they've got the poisonous glands. But,
yeah, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that cane toads are poisonous?
I had no idea. Oh, how would I know? I've never knew that. I've never known that. Was there a thing on The Simpsons when Homer licks the cane toad and he gets high from it?
He licks a frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. I've seen that.
Oh, that's what I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
So off topic.
As a kid, like with cane toads, you used to get your golf clubs and go around at the night time and just tee up on them.
Are they running rampant up there in Queensland?
What do you mean they're a pest?
But I didn't realise they were across like the state. I didn't realise they're that bad of a pest.
Rampant, yeah. So you literally just walk around of a night time, like as a little kid, you get the one wood, and they just used to, and you could just tee up on them too. Like you used to put the golf club this close to them, and you could just load up. It was golf practice, good golf practice. And then apparently, I don't know how true, if this is a wives' tale or anything like that, but, say you hit them, they spew their guts up, right? And they lie on their back and pretend that they're dead. And then when, say, a few moments and everyone goes away, etc., they swallow their guts back up and then on their jolly way.
They're
Quite a unique species, and there's only, I think, they are poisonous. So back in the day, when I was a little kid, my little Shih Tzus used to like froth from the mouth. It used to come out and they'd have them in their mouths and then they'd just start foaming from the mouth.
You've had a lot
Wouldn't
of dogs.
kill them.
You've had a lot of dogs in your life, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Okay.
That's sad, bro.
Well, I didn't say anything. I just said you had a lot of
dog.
I just said you had a lot of dogs. I didn't realize how many dogs
And
you
then,
had.
mind you, I had to put one down the other day.
Oh, did you?
Unfortunately,
Sorry, bro.
the OG.
What happened?
Nah, so she had cancer, 8.5 years old, and she had an episode. Long story short, we got surgery, hygiosarcoma or something like that. So I don't know how to actually say it. I'm just gonna make you feel bad right now.
Yeah, I feel terrible.
Because you bring that shit up.
It's one of the saddest
Yeah.
things to let go of a pet.
Yeah.
I remember let go of putting down my dog just before we went to Gold Coast in 2021.
Yeah, you told me
Mate,
about
I
that.
would never cry like that in my
Yeah.
life. I went to war.
Yeah, just thought I'd make you feel bad about it.
Can we
Had to
move on?
put one down the
Can we
other
move on,
night.
please? Let's move on.
Bring that shit up. That's dog, bro.
Hey,
No pun intended.
I want to ask you something. And I want to hear it from you, from a Queenslander. You know, with all the commentary around Woodsy and Billy Slater and around game 2, do you think it was personal?
I don't know what's going on with that, eh? I don't know why. I actually don't know what's going on. I feel as though Woodsy's just trying to, because there hasn't been much spice between the sides and the players and the etc. I feel like he just feels like he's had to, I suppose, get that shit off.
What do you mean?
Get that shit off the goat.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But I just feel like he's really had to add some spice to the series, and I don't know if it's personal or not. Well, it might be personal in the sense that they couldn't win an Origin series when Billy was playing and Woodsy was in and around all that era.
Like, we were in Kangaroo Camp. We did a couple of tours together, and I've never seen any angst or any tension when they were around each other.
Unless he's just trying to keep his job at Triple M, and they're telling him to throw stuff out like that. And I don't know, maybe he's getting bonuses for doing shit like this. Who knows, behind closed doors.
How did that make you feel, though, when you were hearing that from him, from this side of the fence?
I was just like, whoa, why? Just relax. Can everyone relax? I don't actually get it, but each to their own. And
did he take it too far?
It's all been blown out of proportion, I feel.
If he
for
called
sure.
you a grub, I don't think you'd react the way Billy reacted. I think.
Well,
Billy
I've
took
been
it
called a
personally.
grub since 2020 Origin series, and I still get called a grub every week. Every week that I play, I come off the field and
Do you?
yeah, I'll have messages for sure, bruh.
Can I take this off now? Thanks.
Yeah, you can take that off.
Yeah.
For sure. Constantly. I'm constantly getting abused on social media all the time. I love it. It's hilarious.
Oh, it doesn't really get to you
Nah, why?
because it's an attack.
Well, I've had my moments, but I'm more someone when I'm on the field, yeah. I can be heated, I can be passionate.
Didn't you blow up at someone this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, but I had my jersey on. When I've got my jersey on. But once I come off the field, I'm a completely different person.
Why did you react then?
Frustration. I had I guess, honestly,
Yeah.
but it's a good question. No, I really feel like, when was this? Did I have my kid then?
I would have been around then, or your wife was heavily pregnant.
Yeah. So it's actually a good question in the sense that unconsciously, one, I was trying to figure out, first of all, how to be a good partner. Second of all, how to be a good dad. And third of all, trying to be the best athlete possible, teammate as possible. And
Because I've never seen you react like
yeah,
that.
this year I've definitely had to reflect a lot in the sense that I've had to, step up as a leader at the club as much as I can, especially with all the injuries we've had with, Camo especially. And I've really had to reflect and try and juggle all these things that I haven't had to in my career because I've had the leadership behind it where I haven't really had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And frustration, one, unconsciously, that it's hard to it's hard to juggle trying to be a good partner, trying to be a dad, and trying to be an athlete. Now that I've actually started to figure out how to balance all that and try and step up as a leader. And when I come off the field, and he was just pizzling everyone. He was pizzling me, and I was
But there's a line you don't cross, right? Was he getting personal, or was he just like laughing and like?
I felt like
jeering you on, like, because I feel like there's a fine line. You know what I mean?
It was both. It was definitely both, and I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. But as I said, when I have that jersey on, I am probably one of the hottest heads that there is.
Passionate.
Yeah, and there was something else that come out that I refused to shake the Storm players' hands and things like that, which I felt was fairly unfair to say when I never really got to say my part in that.
What happened?
So there was obviously a story that Buzz come out and said that.
Here we go, Buzz.
Yeah, Buzz come out and said that I refused to shake the Storm's players' hands and, I stormed off the field, which I did. I was actually, and if I can say my part now, it was the fact that why I walked off the field is, and it makes no sense to me because players get pizzled for smiling and shaking players' hands after the game. But now that I walked off, pissed off, I'm in the wrong for not shaking their hands, it's just a lose-lose for us players at the moment.
Create a headline.
But in that moment, I felt like us as a team had thrown everything at Melbourne. Felt like we were the better team for majority of the game, and I was genuinely heartbroken.
Yeah, I could see
my
that.
My body was, first of all, wrecked. Like defensively, I was out to, give my body for my team, and I did. After that game, I've never been so sore in my life. My shoulder was absolutely cooked from Nelson, who's the largest human ever. And it's not that I refused to shake the players' hands. It's just I was so heartbroken, I needed to get off the field and get into the sheds and sit down. And it was more heartbreak for me because I knew that I threw everything at that game, and so did my teammates. And to lose the way we did, it's not that I refused to shake their hands. It was more, I was heartbroken, as I said.
Thanks for clearing that up. Far out. Because I always think whenever there's a headline from a journalist, I feel like they try and make it as dramatic as possible, and that's obviously from their perspective and their view on the situation, which is fine. It's warranted.
Yeah.
But there's always two sides to every story, right?
But going back to the Bulldogs thing, I should never have reacted the way I did, but when I have that jersey on, I am hot-headed. I am completely and utterly... I can lose. I'm emotional.
It happens to everyone. Like you can see, you could be driving, you could have a bad day on the road, and you lash out at someone. It could be. It's just a natural reaction. You have so much in your mind.
Absolutely
and you just snap.
But I do want to clear the air with that Storm one. I didn't refuse to shake the hands. I was just genuinely heartbroken. I wanted to walk off the field.
Can I be honest? I didn't even see that headline. I don't read the papers.
It's the best ever.
I think that's Wayne Bennett thing. Oh no, Ivan always used to tell us, don't read the papers, don't read articles, don't fall into the trap of...
I was at the Matty John show, and then they'd asked me about it, and I was like, is there a story on that? And he goes, yeah, they showed me. I just went, here we go again. Never any positive things about me, is there?
Well, hopefully that's going to change, Jai. Hopefully that's going to change. Anyway, we threw a poll out or questionnaire for some fans to kind of engage with us on the show, and we had a few questions for you and myself. We're going to go to flawless.lekenny. Question 1, pick one Origin side from any year you take to war with you.
Love that question.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. There's so many good teams, but doing some research, the Queensland 2011 Game 3 side, who, mind you, won the series, I think.
I think that was 2-1.
Yeah. Just listen to this team.
Go on.
Slater, Boyd, Hodges, Inglis, Yao-Yi. Lockyer, Thurston, Scott, Smith, Seven Asiva, Nate Miles, Sammy Thaiday, Ashley Harrison. And then on the bench, Cronk, Parker, Lilliman, and Hannett.
And that is just not fair.
Crook,
that is disgusting. That's a pretty good side.
Give us yours, Josh.
So my New South Wales team that I'll go to war with, and this is very nostalgic for me. This is going back to 2003 New South Wales side, coached by Phil Gould. Fullback Anthony Minichillo, on the wings Tamata Tahu, Michael DeVere. My centres are Matt Gidley, Jamie Lyon, Sean Timmins at 6, Andrew Johns, skipper as our halfback, Robbie Kearns, Danny Badiris, Jason Riles, Craig Fitzgibbon, Ben Kennedy, Luke Ricketson, and then on the bench I've got Luke Bailey, Phil Bailey, Craig Wing, Josh Perry, and other notable mentions and 3 other players that played in Game 3 in that series was Brian Fletcher, Luke Ricketson, Braithen Astor, and Willie Mason.
Yeah, wow.
That's a good side.
That's old school.
That's a good side.
That's old school, bro. Is that the year Michael DeVere got staples in his head?
I think
Remember
it
that?
might be, yeah. I can't
Hectic.
get that image out of my head. I don't think I ever will.
Next question.
Yeah, next question. Next question from our teammate Trell Mitt. This is actually a question for you.
Oh, yeah?
How's Jai's defense in the centre position?
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious, isn't he? Yeah. he's real-
What's he talking about?
Thanks, Trell. You're a good man. Thanks
What's
for
he
bringing
talking
that
about?
up. You've seen the footage, you asshole.
I
He
haven't
sent it in.
I'll go show it just for all the guests and all the listeners.
Oh, long story short, I was at the Titans. Trell, it was the first year Trell. It was during COVID 2020. And I was actually coming to the club. I was coming to the club the next year, sorry. And somehow, I don't know how, I ended up in the centres against them. So long story short, Trell's got the ball at the back. I did the right thing, mind you. I went to jam him, and Trell's known someone who is known to run over people. So
you got to take the space away.
yeah,
from
so
him.
for the first time in his career, he's decided to do it in and away, and I completely planted my feet, completely missed him, and he's offloaded the ball to Gags, and Gags has scored into the corner. So look, I'm not a specialist centre, so you can't be taking raps for stepping me in the centres.
That's a fair
You know what?
point.
The next year, our first years at the club, remember Wayne put it up in video, or someone put it up in video.
Hey.
We were playing the Titans, and they brought that up, and basically said, "Oh, Troll, just do this again," and it was me getting stepped. Fuck you all, assholes.
I love that. Next question is from Dresky. Are we going to be up in the finals, up the bunnies? So basically asking you, Jai, do you feel like we have any hope in play finals for this season?
Yeah, I think we do. I absolutely think we do. I believe in this squad. I spoke to Wayne yesterday about it, actually, and last week's game against the Dolphins probably hasn't reflected the last month. You know, we're not under no illusion that we played some good footy teams, and both me and Wayne had both said we still believe in this team, and we really feel as though we can make them run. So count on this, brother. Whatever we're paying, get on us to make the 8.
Big shout. I like it. Lucky last. Predictions for game 3. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Oh, losers go first.
Shit. All right. I think it's going to be New South Wales victory. And I'm going to say I'm leaning towards either 20-12 maybe or 22-12. Let's just say
So not a hiding this time.
not a high.
Not a 28-12.
I'll say 22-12. 22-12 New South Wales win.
Well, I think it's going to be very similar to last year where we come in ambushes physically. And I think the way the game's been being played over the past 2 games, I think it's going to be higher scoring. So it's going to be close, though. I feel like a 22-20 Queensland victory. Man of the match and player of the series.
Hmm?
Player of the series, I go Cameron Munster.
Yep.
For the second time. And player of the match on the weekend, Harry Grant. He's due.
Bit worried about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my player of the series will go to Payne Haas. And I think my man of the match will go to Nathan Cleary.
Right. Well, good luck, Josh. All the
of
best.
Luck, best of luck, Jai. It's always a pleasure, never a chore to see your face.
Yeah, thank you.
Why do you reckon we wrap this show up and see you on Wednesday night, brother?